And Steve just got out. And I'm like, oh God, what happened? You know, we're all kind of looking. Steve got out, went out there and hugged the dog, picked him up, was all bloody, and in tears.
Right.
Like, there was a part of me just went, oh my God, here's a guy who yesterday just like tore somebody apart, but he just held this animal like, oh my
Passion.
God. Yeah, exactly.
The first person, Sensei, it could have been a teacher in or out of the school, I might know the answer to this, but that really moved you, affected you, challenged you, got you into martial arts? Like, who is it?
Well, definitely, you know, my instructor is Steve Sexton, by far.
I did know the answer.
Yeah,
But
and but I have, you know, I was so fortunate, and I really found him, started training with him by luck. A friend of mine, Cyrus, was training with him first, found him, and I just moved to the area, and I really wanted to train, and you know, the first night I went, I fell in love. You know, talk about presence. You know, I've had many experiences with Steve. And he never wanted to be called master or sensei, or even for us, we're just Steve. And that was enough. Honestly, that was really enough. And I say that with pride. But I remember a couple things about him that really stuck to my mind. One is that one time, first of all, he loves to fight. He's just a fighter. He just loved to fight, you know. So I remember one time we were all sitting down. It was like an orange or yellow belt or something. We're sitting down. This guy opens the door, and with a Harley, big ass bike, drives his bike right on the mat, parks in the mat, and try to get off the bike. And I remember, and I'm sitting, we're all shocked, you know, the bunch of us sitting down. And I remember Steve walking out towards the office, from the office, walked up towards him. By the time this guy took his foot to be able to get off the bike, Steve just did a spinning heel kick to this guy's face. And I cannot tell you what that sounded, but it was what a weird, strong sound. And he just dropped the guy. I mean, just dropped him. So I don't know what the whole issue was and what had happened and stuff, but I remember they were talking about him because they came and asked us what happened and all this stuff. The guy had a shotgun in his bike. So it was purely a self-defense, and the fact that he walked into the bike, I mean, I don't know the whole story, but all this stuff, and it doesn't matter. What happened is that his response, and I remember that face. I remember he's sitting in the office, and the office was really small, and he looked at the bike, the guy coming in, and his face just like, I don't want to say lit up,
right?
Because it's not that he was excited, but he wasn't going to let this go.
He was ready.
Right. So I think personally, if it happened to me, I'd be like, hey, sir, what are you doing? You know, this is not cool. He just walked up and he's just like. And they asked me later, no, they wouldn't believe that he was hit by somebody's kick. They thought somebody held him and a truck hit his head because his neck broke, whatever. But Steve had that much power in his body, that he would transfer. And the fact that, no fear. Steve just has no fear, and I'm so fortunate to be able to have trained with him because I got a side of a fighter from him as little as I could, that, talk about certainty that we talked about before. But here's the other way of this story.
Okay.
This happens day later. He doesn't come and brag about it. We're all like, oh, somebody gonna talk about this?
Right.
Nothing.
There's gonna be a story about this.
Right?
We need to vent this.
Listen to this is where it got me. Is that this is what I love about Steve. We're teaching class. It's like, I don't know, 7 o'clock night class, and from the glass door I can see outside there's a big car thing. Boom, boom, boom. It looks like an accident. And I look out there. There's a car who hit a dog.
Okay.
And the dog was right in the middle of the street. And Steve just got out, and I'm like, oh God, what happened? We're all kind of looking. Steve got out, went out there and hugged the dog, picked him up, was all bloody, and in tears.
Right.
Like there was a part of me just went, oh my God, here's a guy who yesterday just tore somebody apart, but he just held this animal like, oh my
Passion.
God. Yeah, exactly.
it's
That's what I
passion.
knew about him. Just yin and yang. Yeah, he's got both sides. You know, again, and I'm so fortunate to be able to have, been taught by him both ways. That, if you make a decision to do something, you do it all out,
Right.
But don't forget being a human at the same time.
What I take from that is kind of the all-in idea, which is something I talk about a lot, which is if you're going to do it, right? So that person came in, there was no middle ground.
No, no, no.
I'm going to kick that person and end whatever problem could arise here. And now this dog is hurt and my heart hurts and I am all in on helping this dog.
And
it's
that
all in.
Yeah,
idea.
that was such a great experience for me to see that side of him. I'd never seen him cry.
Right.
I'm like, this man cannot cry, but to see that side of him, and those two incidences really brought a whole different, experience, for me.